You will find in many countries of the world that people are sitting with the choice, do I want the best technology or do I want basic technology and then I can buy other stuff? And these choices are choices that people make every day. And that was the challenge that we sort of were looking at.
Welcome back to Startup Health Now, the podcast where we celebrate the entrepreneurs and innovators who are transforming health. I'm Logan Plaster. My guest this week is Ole Nielsen, CEO and co-founder of GoPen. Ole is part of our Type 1 Diabetes Moonshot, and as you'll hear, he and his team have built a new kind of insulin pen, one that is affordable and accessible to all while also adhering to the absolute highest standards of quality. In our conversation, we'll hear about why a more accessible insulin pen could change millions of people's lives. We'll also get a glimpse into the uniquely challenging startup journey of developing a physical medical device. Ole and his team have been winning awards and grants on a regular basis, but the road is still steep. Whether it's negotiating with a manufacturer across the globe or getting FDA approval, bringing a medical device to market as a startup with limited funds is a challenge that could intimidate even the most market-tested CEOs. Ole pulls back the curtain and lets us see that challenge from the inside and shows us where he's climbing next. Let's get to it. Ole Nielsen, CEO and co-founder at GoPen, thank you so much for joining me for Startup Health Now.
Thank you, Logan. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to be part of the crowd. It's such a pleasant group both to join and to learn from. Thank you.
Where are you calling in from today, just so our audience knows?
Yeah, so I'm sitting a little bit north of Copenhagen. Right now, unfortunately, the weather is not so good. It's raining a little bit, but elsewise, it's in the afternoon here. So I hope the lighting is all right.
Yes, you look great. And for those listening on the podcast, they won't have to worry about that at all. So okay, I love that you're calling in from Copenhagen because you're part of our new T1D Moonshot community, which has been very international. And I don't know, before we even get into the conversation, you've been a part of some of these conversations, a lot of T1D companies coming from Europe. You know, any thoughts on what that is coming out of or that global energy in that group?
No, I think a lot of the T1D sort of community work and companies that have come out is probably coming out of the European cluster around diabetes. So it's 100 years ago, a company called Novo Nordisk was founded based on, the first industry to together with Lilly to commercialize insulin. Then actually this year is 100 years ago since it was commercialized. So that may be one of the reasons why there's so many companies are working on T1D. Then there is a significant accelerator in Bern called Diabetes Center Bern. They're doing a lot as well, and a lot of focused efforts on T1D as well. So super cool guys down there as well.
Very interesting. Okay, so we're going to talk about the work that you're doing with GoPen. You've come up with this exciting way to make insulin pen technology available to millions of people potentially who are suffering from diabetes. And so I want to talk about the challenge first for those listening to the podcast or the show who are less familiar with diabetes. Can you start by explaining why the world needs an insulin pen for all, this slogan that you have?
Thank you.
What is that core challenge?
Yeah, so it's in essence the same challenge as 100 years ago. Insulin, as I told you before, was invented 100 years ago, and unfortunately, it's not so easy to administer. You need to be super precise on how to dose it correctly. And one of the biggest innovations over the last 50 years has been the introduction of insulin pens. So this was an effort to sort of to make it more easy and comfortable for the insulin user. So insulin is a protein that you need as a person with diabetes. If you are type 1, you don't produce it anymore. If you're type 2, you may produce it, but it doesn't really work for you. So you need quite high concentrations of it. So you basically have to supplement every day with insulin and keeping that constant. If you get too much, it's not so good. If you get too little, it's not so good either, and can actually have serious health consequences. So having just the right dose is super important. So with the introduction of the insulin pens 50 years ago, and with the new ones coming on, that has really taken the market quite interesting and quite a big part of the market. So you would see that still between maybe even 80% of the market is using insulin pens. But that leaves the last 20% or 11 to 15 million people, depending a little bit on how you count. That's a significant proportion of people who are living with insulin, but they're using syringes to inject it. And we know that, for instance, even in US, 1 out of 5 will, or 1 out of 4 will actually skip insulin injections every day. And that ruins this fine balance that you have to have with the diabetes management and with the insulin management. So having access to easy to use technology has been seen by many and are used by many as something. Unfortunately, it's not readily available for everybody. Okay. You will find in many countries of the world that people are sitting with a choice: do I want the best technology, or do I want basic technology, and then I can buy other stuff? And these choices are choices that people make every day, and that was the challenge that we sort of were looking at.
When you say other stuff, you mean just like taking care of daily life, right?
Yeah, this could be food, housing. It could be, everything that you need money for. Yeah. You have to I know at least my bank account does run out of money, so I have to sort of prioritize, and so do everybody else. And we're talking about the people that have to be even more considerate than I am lucky not to be. So yeah.
Can you help us by just putting a face on that challenge of someone who's had to make a financial decision to not get an insulin pen, but instead rely on syringes? How does that impact their life?
Well, I can tell you, a few years ago, I was working in a large corporation in Denmark, and was so lucky to have the job of going to all sorts of places. I was in, I don't know how many different places where I met people using insulin, and many times in vials and syringes. And one particular guy, Pak Vaslu, he struck me as an example. He went to the doctor in the morning to get his shot of insulin because he was blind, he had poor dexterity, so he couldn't do it himself. So he spent more money on going to the doctor and getting his insulin shot, all the same money that on the doctor and the insulin shot that he actually spent on transportation going there, and every day. So he bought insulin by the shot, and it just this guy was happy, living a wonderful life, but his whole life was about making sure that he had stable blood sugar.
Okay, so let's talk about GoPen, this company that you have built. You're building off of extensive experience that you had in this market already, right, through Novo Nordisk, with your co-founder. So let's talk about the pen itself, what you developed and what makes it unique on the market.
Yeah, well, so there are insulin pens on the market today. There are several types, some with refillable cartridges, some that are durables, and what we have said, we wanted to make an insulin pen that a user like Pak that I talked about earlier on would be able to afford, something that is in his realm. So instead of inventing, from the top, you sort of invented for Pak. So what are the things you need to cut away to actually meet the payment criteria that he has every day? So we set out to say, okay, he is paying for something. What if we replace that with something better? And what could that be? And that was actually the design criteria from the beginning. And I was so lucky to start up the company together with Mikael, my old friend from the army of all places. And Mikael has been designing a lot of the insulin pens that Novo Nordisk has on the market today. And he's holding the co-authorship of 29 insulin pen patents. So he knew what he was actually talking about. And then together we took a look at this this concept and said, yeah, this is the way it could look like. So we have designed an insulin pen where a person would fill up the reservoir at home and then attach it to an insulin pen that is durable, that can last for 3 years. And then they would have access to an insulin pen at this daily going price as you would pay for insulin syringes. So that's the trade-off. You would have to do something extra, but you would be able to get it accessible for everybody. That's the concept.
How are you able to accomplish that? I mean, it seems like if a larger company wanted to do the same pen for less to make it more accessible to more people, that they might have tried to do that. Well, what was the trick?
First of all, we are selling it without insulin, so it's being sold with empty.
Okay.
And it can be used for more than one brand of insulin.
Oh, okay.
So it's instead of saying it's for a particular brand, we have opened it up and said, okay, we want to in the US first go for 2 different brands of insulin that it can be used for with the same purpose. So in our case, we're going for 2 fast-acting brands to start with, and then later on we will come with more variants.
You're attacking this issue of accessibility in a huge way. You have this person in your mind. You want it to be available to this person, and for that to be possible, it has to be affordable. And yet, I know from your experience that you are going after the highest level of quality and design. So, talk to me just philosophically how you marry affordability and accessibility over here with high quality over here.
It's actually pretty simple because there is a set of standards that you have to follow to actually get an insulin pen on the market, and that those standards we are following them, and they're pretty tough. So it's not easy peasy to go out there. So of course we knew we had to develop something that would be a very, very good pen. But we also took made the choices of saying, then there are stuff that you need to do yourself. There are stuff that we would leave to the user, which they can do already now. So we're not asking them to do stuff they're not already doing. We're asking them to fill a syringe. Every day they're filling a syringe. So we're not asking them to do new stuff, but just combine some of the things they do today with actually having access to a modern pen.
Yeah. Your company's been hitting some great milestones. You've won various awards. I recall one at the ADA, getting a lot of recognition. You've got great experience on your team. And yet I know from talking to you that you're facing all the same challenges that a startup that is creating an actual device comes up against. And I wondered if you could just sort of tell us about what that journey is like to be working towards a physical product and just some of the challenges that come with that.
Yeah, but we are in physical product development, and it's like you see the top of a mountain in far away, and when you're standing far away from a mountain, it looks like there's a linear path towards that mountain. And the closer you get to the top, you find out, oh my God, then there's a little valley that you didn't see from afar, and then you need to go from that, and then you need to go up again, and there's another little valley, and then you need to go up. You'll reach the top. Also, suddenly maybe you were thinking there's a linear sort of path to the top, but there's all sorts of little valleys and sort of places that you have to go first. And when you are in the deepest valley, and the difference to the linear expected path, that's when you need to manage communications. That's where you need to manage a lot of expectations, because you have somebody that are expecting we're here and you're actually somewhere else. And that's why, for instance, winning the ADA Innovation Challenge, that was something that, just we call it an orange in the turban. It was a sort of, it was just so nice to get this validation, somebody else looking at us saying that what we are going and what we are developing is actually something that would create a lot of value for a lot of patients. And we were so thankful for that, because developing products that are medical devices that are well tested and going through all the regulatory processes. It's just a lot of work before actually trying to getting sales. So therefore we need, someone like you, someone like ADA, even the Diabetes Center Bern, which we won a competition last fall. And going through these processes and learning together with these people are just so valuable for someone small like us.
How challenging is it to communicate that longer journey to an investor or a potential partner if they don't understand the valleys that are gonna come and be challenging along the way?
I think it's interesting because from the beginning you need to have a story that you believe in. You need to have some basic beliefs that will not change, and we've been so lucky that we had that. Then on the way, all sorts of things, opportunities arise. Oh, it can also be used for that. It could be used for this application, and these are actually important things that add value to your company.
Mm.
But you need to do one thing at a time. You need to stay the course. You need to sort of make sure that you do that. So how to manage that and get that long term? Have a compelling story. Make sure that you are true to what you are, true to your own story, and true to your own beliefs. Honestly, because it's also when you're in that little valley and there's so far up to the expected growth. That's also where you need to go back and pull out your energy again, because it is a journey where you need to sort of make sure that you have batteries included, as you say.
Yeah. What do you do when you're in those valleys to keep your energy up, to sort of stay focused and get back in the zone?
I'm an extrovert, so I need to be with people. I need to share my frustrations. I need to share my ups and downs, and I need to just suck up the energy that people can luckily give. And sometimes they will give you a kick on over the shin, and then you're just then working again. So all sorts of little good things that we give each other, and that's the energy that basically is helping a lot.
Yeah. Well, what's next for GoPen? What should we look forward to over the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, we are in a process now with the FDA. It's super interesting. We also raising capital. So we in the fortunate situation that we got a very large grant from the European Union of 2.5 million euro. We've got first half of that tranche. We will get the other half when we complete some milestones, probably by March next year. And then we want to be ready for and to be able to produce. So we want to get some capital for that. So the European Union, the European Investment Bank will come with half of the capital. We're looking for 6 million euro. And so that's $6.4 million. And half of that is matched already. And then we're looking for a lead investor to take 25% of the other half. So that's how it looks. So yeah. Well, you would, if you are in the investment community, you would probably, I hope that you've seen my slide deck sort of moving around.
Very nice. What's a piece of advice you might give to another founder who's maybe earlier in their process? They're still looking at the mountain and they haven't really hit that valley yet, but they're working on a physical product. They'd love to be getting some of those accolades that you've gotten from the ADA, but they're earlier in their journey. Kind of looking back at yourself, 5 years ago, what's maybe a piece of advice or two you might give somebody?
I think, first of all, the story of what you are going to do is so big. You need to figure out early on who is your helpers in telling that story. You need some kind of compelling data. You need some kind of compelling person that can help you tell that story. I don't know how many times I've told the story of meeting Pak Vaslu in Indonesia. It's a true story, and it's a real guy, and he helped me a lot to understand how it was. But I also knew that there were many like him, and so you need these elements, and then you need to be able to have that story, and then a story of how that can be turned into a positive value creation path for a lot of actors, because you're not alone in this. There will be a distribution channel that needs to earn money. There will be retailers that need to earn money on this. There need to be, you need to be able to produce it at a price that can be low enough so that patients can afford this. So there is a long chain of things you need to do right. So it's a lovely mountain. I would encourage everybody that have a compelling story and that have something they want to fix to go out and do it. And don't worry, you will learn how to do it along the way.
I love that. As a storyteller, I love that emphasis on finding a compelling story. But what strikes me about it is that it can't just be a story. Your experience with POC has clearly impacted you at such a deep level that the story became, intrinsic for you. And so you have to take the story in internally as well as identify it externally. Would you say that's right?
Definitely, there will be a lot of people that are giving you the advice. No, don't do it. It's not possible. You can't. Nobody can ever do this. This is a red ocean market, and no one has been successful here. And there will be so many people that are there, and then you will find that person or these people that are saying, "Oh, hey, that's interesting. Yeah. Let's do that." And then that's where you get that in. But it is also about who you are. At least I'm somebody who wants to fix stuff. I want to fix a problem. That's what I'm doing here. So it's really making sure that everybody that is using insulin syringes out of economic reasons have access to a pen as quickly as possible. That's what keeps me awake.
I love it. Ole, I appreciate you taking the time with me today. I hope we can get this story out to more people. Appreciate you just pushing diligently on this so that millions of people can benefit. So I wish you the best.
Thanks, Logan. And thanks for the opportunity for GoPen to be having this prominent position here with Startup Health and you. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And every time I speak with you guys, I learn something new. So that's always appreciated. Thank you.
Awesome. Enjoy that Danish weather, and we'll be keeping in touch.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Startup Health Now. We'll be back again with another episode next week.